Okay, in this video, I want to take a look at how we integrate a standalone store, an online store, with your WordPress site. Okay, remember there were two types of standalone stores. One is either on a third-party hosting service or one that you've installed on your server that's separate from WordPress itself. So how do we integrate these with WordPress? Well, fortunately, it's pretty straightforward, and there's really just two key integration issues. The first is integrating your menu and then integrating your look. How easy is it to make your store look like your WordPress site? Make sure that people aren't confused when they're leaving them. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's do integrating your menu first because it's really quite straightforward. Here's our Dish Belief site. Okay, so I've got, say, my services on there. I've got a blog about dinnerware and so on. Now I want to add my store. Well, all I have to do is go over to Appearance and I go over to Menus. And what I do is I go to this, Custom Links. Okay, this allows you to put any link to anywhere on the website right in your menu. So let's say, for example, I've got a store at Shopify. I'm just going to grab Shopify's address here. It's a third-party store, for example. So I just go in here, paste it in, and I call it Store. That was easy. Now it's on our menu. Don't forget Save Menu. You have to hit that first. And now when I refresh, I've got a link to my store. There you go. It takes you over to Shopify. Now, you'd want to make sure that on your Shopify store or whatever you're using, that you have a link back to your WordPress site, like a back to home button or back to main site or something like that. Now, the process is exactly the same. Let's say, for instance, you had, I'm just going to get rid of this here and remove it. And let's say I had store.dishbelief. Make believe I have a domain name for this. Store.dishbelief.com, right? That's all I have to do there is just put that in. So it's on my server. That's a good way to do it, by the way, is put your store on a subdomain of your existing site, of your existing domain name. I just add to menu. Same thing again, I save menu. I go back to here and I refresh. And now it's going to point to my own server, but to the place I've got my store software. So menu integration is really quite straightforward from within WordPress. Again, as long as you've got control over your menu on your store software, wherever that's hosted, then you just simply put a link back to here and you can go back and forth. Now what about the question of integrating the looks of the site? Remember that was our second issue there, integrating the look. Well, this really comes down to your software. So how easy is it on your store software to make things look like your regular website? Now, you don't have to go all the way. Some people worry that they haven't got exactly the same look. Most people actually don't worry about that. What they want is their logo, the color scheme, as long as it looks close so that we know that we're in the right place. So I'm going to look here, for example, at E-Commerce, which was one of the third-party sellers that we talked about. You go down here and they'll tell you they've got a lot of easy ways to customize the look of your E-Commerce site. And again, this is something you'd want to explore. If you're very, very keen to have exactly the same look, then you'd have to explore, do a test run, do a free trial with one of these places, or get some software and try it out on your own server, that is, right? See if you can replicate your look. And if you know what you're doing with CSS and HTML, it's not at all tough to make exactly the look you want. You just have to have the control. On a third-party provider, that's going to depend a lot on what they offer. So you'd want to check that out. So there you go. Integrating is really pretty straightforward to get your standalone store integrated with your WordPress site.